Johnny Somali came to Korea with the obvious intention of making clickbait videos to promote his provocative channel. However, the table seems to have turned as he is now being used to help Korean online streamers generate views. After videos of Koreans, including one streamer, assaulting Somali went viral, many Korean YouTubers are seeking out the American in the hopes of causing an altercation so they can either stream or even incite the scuffle.
A content creator who turned harassment into an international spectacle just lost everything. Johnny Somali, notorious for tormenting locals in Japan and South Korea for views, now faces a 10-year prison sentence in South Korea, a country determined to make him pay for exploiting its cultural values. This isn't just a downfall. It's a brutal wake-up call for streamers who mistake infamy for success. The world of streaming has seen its fair share of controversial figures, but Johnny Somali carved out his own unique path to infamy. Unlike most contentious streamers who at least stick to familiar territory, Johnny made the calculated decision to take his provocative act international, specifically targeting Asian countries where he believed he could exploit their traditionally non-confrontational cultures. He emerged as what's known as a nuisance streamer, a term that perfectly encapsulates his approach to content creation. But even among the notorious kick streaming community, Johnny managed to stand out for all the wrong reasons. His journey of destruction began in Japan, where he displayed a shocking disregard for local customs and basic human decency. He deliberately targeted women on female-only train carriages, disrupted quiet spaces, and showed complete contempt for Japanese culture. During one particularly disturbing stream, he revealed the true nature of his character.
From America?
Yes.
So am I.
You're from America?
Yeah, you're being obnoxious.
You know what we do to you?
What do you do?
We will do again.
Do what?
Hiroshima, Nagasaki.
This wasn't just random rudeness. This was calculated provocation designed to generate reactions. He managed to achieve something that seemed impossible, becoming even more despised in Japan than Logan Paul after the infamous forest incident. But unlike Paul, who at least showed remorse, Johnny Somali doubled down on his behavior. When Japanese authorities finally caught up with him, he demonstrated a remarkable talent for avoiding consequences. He promised officials he would quit streaming altogether, a commitment he broke almost immediately after leaving their jurisdiction. In fact, he couldn't resist taunting the very officers who had shown him leniency.
Kiss that outraged South Korea. He's a serial offender, and he. Oh, man, look. This is what I told y'all.
After that, Johnny Somali decided to make South Korea his next target. If his actions in Japan showed a pattern of disrespect, what he did in South Korea demonstrated a complete disregard for his own safety and freedom. His first notable stunt involved carrying around a rotting fish, something that sounds almost comical until you realize the calculated malice behind it. He deliberately let the fish decay so he could use it to harass people in public spaces.
You can't promise me anything. You can't give me a definite answer. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. They say he may face 10 years in jail over the kissing controversy in South Korea. Please make it happen.
But this was just the beginning. Johnny's next move showed just how far he was willing to go to provoke an entire nation. He began playing World War II Japanese military speeches and banzai calls on public transport. For context, this would be like playing Nazi speeches at a Jewish memorial. The historical wounds between Japan and Korea run deep, and Johnny knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, I don't get. I'm a sociopath. Clout, money. Yeah, get.
What happened?
Yeah. See, when somebody's about to whoop up on that ass, then all of a sudden you ain't a sociopath no more. All of a sudden you sorry.
When confronted about his behavior, Johnny would fall back on a predictable defense.
My intention in coming to Korea was not to cause this kind of shitstorm.
Bullshit!
My intention was to come here, do my
lies!
This pattern of provocation followed by feigned innocence became his trademark, but it was his next action that would turn an entire nation against him. In what many consider his most despicable act, Johnny targeted a memorial dedicated to comfort women, survivors of one of the darkest chapters in Korean history. These monuments represent profound trauma and ongoing pain for the Korean people, but Johnny saw it as just another opportunity for content.
You've caused, and you will not do that shit again.
You will catch an epiphany real quick. You will catch the epiphany, whether it's in your ass or in your mouth. You're gonna catch it.
Yeah.
He proceeded to dance around the statue, remove his shirt, and mock the memorial in ways that can only be described as sexual assault against a symbol of historical tragedy. What makes this particularly disgusting is that he knew exactly what the memorial represented. He even discussed on stream how it was a point of tension between Japan and Korea. The Korean public's response was unlike anything we've seen in the streaming world. His videos spread across Korean social media like wildfire. People began organizing to track his movements, Korean streamers started covering his activities, and some viewers even offered bounties for anyone who could confront him. But Johnny, displaying an almost suicidal level of arrogance, continued to taunt his growing number of critics.
And let him think about what he's done for 10 years or more if you like. I can keep him over there.
Yeah, nah, I mean, all this stuff, man, it's another way of this more cowardly shit.
What happened next was inevitable. Multiple confrontations erupted across Seoul. Korean citizens, fed up with his behavior, began taking matters into their own hands. One particularly notable incident involved an ex-Special Forces soldier who had actually trained specifically to confront Johnny. But Johnny's worst decision was yet to come. In a move that would prove to be his legal undoing, he created AI-generated deepfake content involving a Korean female streamer. In most countries, this would be highly problematic. In South Korea, where digital sex crimes are taken extremely seriously, he was effectively signing his own prison sentence.
Streamer decided to attack Johnny Somali in the street. Police quickly intervened, but there are other people who are hoping for a chance to fight Johnny again. One Korean YouTuber reportedly put a $770 bounty on Somali, asking viewers to provide him with the streamer's whereabouts. Ironically, his arrest might be protecting him from getting beat up or stalked by other streamers. But combining convictions on assault and drug charges could mean up to 12 years in jail or nearly $80,000 in fines.
As the authorities built their case, the charges against Johnny Somali began mounting at an alarming rate. What started with creating non-consensual deepfake content, a serious offense in South Korea's legal system, quickly expanded into a laundry list of crimes. The prosecutors added charges of obstruction of business after his disruptive behavior in local establishments, coupled with cultural site desecration for his mockery of sacred memorials. His persistent harassment of citizens, particularly women, led to multiple counts being filed against him. The list grew longer with charges of public disturbance stemming from his provocative stunts on public transport and in public spaces. Property damage charges were also added after his destructive behavior was documented across Seoul. Each charge alone carried significant weight in South Korean law, but together they created a devastating legal tsunami that would potentially rob Johnny of nearly 3 decades of his life. The Korean justice system, known for its strict stance on social order and respect for cultural values, was preparing to make an example of a streamer who thought he could treat their country like his personal playground. Each of these charges carries serious weight in South Korean law. Combined, they've led to prosecutors seeking a 10-year prison sentence. His passport has been confiscated, and even the police who once watched his antics with relative indifference have now taken a hard stance against him. What's particularly striking about Johnny Somali's case is how it reflects a broader issue in streaming culture. He's part of a growing trend of content creators who mistake notoriety for success, who believe that any reaction, even violent rejection, equals valuable engagement. But South Korea is showing the world that there's a line between provocative content and criminal behavior. The Korean authorities' handling of his case sends a clear message to other potential nuisance streamers who might target their country. Korean politicians have reviewed his videos in parliament, treating his actions not just as individual incidents of misbehavior, but as a serious attack on Korean society and culture. Looking back at Johnny's journey from Japan to his current situation in a South Korean custody, we see a perfect example of how digital fame can lead to real-world consequences. He deliberately chose to target countries he perceived as soft targets, believing their cultural emphasis on harmony and respect meant he could act with impunity. Instead, he discovered that patience has its limits, and respect for cultural norms doesn't equal weakness. The irony is that in his quest for viral fame, he did achieve worldwide attention, just not in the way he intended. Instead of becoming known as a successful streamer, he'll likely be remembered as the man who destroyed his own life for content, trading his freedom for fleeting moments of infamy. As Johnny awaits his final sentence in South Korea, his story stands as a reminder that in our interconnected world, actions have consequences. No amount of viewers, donations, or online infamy is worth throwing away decades of your life. In trying to make content out of disrespecting others, Johnny Somali ended up creating the ultimate cautionary tale, one that will likely end with him spending the prime years of his life in a South Korean prison. For someone who made a career out of provoking others and running away from consequences, Johnny Somali has finally found himself in a situation he can't stream or joke his way out of. His life isn't just changed, it's effectively over, destroyed by his own choices and actions. It's a fitting end to a story that should serve as a warning to anyone who thinks viral infamy is worth any price.